Morning, y'all. Wednesday, like the December 10th or something like that. So today, it's definitely like lower 30s, kind of snowy. Not the greatest. Not snowing yet, but it sure feels like snow. Got a lot of cold in the air considering how much clouds we have. That means the cold air is pushed in on us and the warm air's got lofted up. So it's definitely overcast. It's moist up there, so probably will get some snow at some point. It just feels like it, smells like it. So it's not exactly an outdoor day. I'll wait for it to warm up a little bit. So yesterday we rounded these up. One really nice looking post, these other ones not so great. This one, crooked one, will probably be the one that's standing outside all by itself. Kind of doesn't really matter too much if it's not straight. That'll be my corner post. That's a pretty post. And then this one will be the one in the wall. It's a little slimmer, fairly straight until it gets to this crook. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna end up needing, but it'll still hold what I need it to hold. So what I'm gonna do later is put these on the sawmill and trim those butts. Just make the posts more narrow. I'll just do long cuts. Cut all that white wood off, and then I'm going to scorch them with my little flamethrower I got. Kind of like a weeding flamethrower. Like that one definitely needs to be cleaned up. I'll cut all those knots off and so forth. Try to straighten them up a little bit. Like I'll cut, see that crook? I'll cut some of that crook out. Doesn't have to be perfect though. I could cut my best trees, but for this project, this was a branch that was just snapped off. No, this one was one I had already cut previously. This one was a branch that had snapped off, and this was a purposely cut tree. So I need like 13 feet or so. So anyway, I'll get the sawmill fired up, cut these, and scorch them. I'll show you before I scorch them. Let me show you what else I'm going to be working on. This will be this afternoon when I get over here. We need a third hole dug. Anyway, I'll show you. So my strips are kind of ugly on that tank, but I mean, it's just doing the best I could with it. I'll give it another shot. More screws will help too, but it's just kind of wrinkly. Not the most ideal thing. I mean, even if you put them on a brake and got a perfect crease, you'd still have bends in it where the tank is not perfect. It was challenging enough, so it's not like a square flat plane relative to each other all the way around. It kind of twists and turns a little bit, so the metal will reflect that. I'm not super happy with it, but I'll do the best I can and go on. It's kind of ugly. So this solar generator here, and I got these, I don't know why my plumbing tools are laying there. So I got a lot of amp hours. It's like 416 amp hours of battery sitting there, and then this one panel, and this is dedicated to my pressure pump. See all this extra wire? Cows have been tripping over it and tearing it up. I think I'll be able to get that wire over to that building, and I'll show you why. Got a couple roosters over here working on my compost for me, and they've dug up some of that poly netting. When I have my torch out, I'll melt that stuff. Instead of trying to pull it all out, I just keep melting it when it emerges, and it'll eventually be gone. Should have been more diligent in unwrapping my hay rather than just throwing it to the cows. So I got my deep freezer in this future bathroom, so it's ready to be hooked up. So I'm going to put some batteries in here, run some wires in here, and get this thing running. So we do some cleaning and organizing yesterday. So that's going to be something I'm working on. I don't know if you remember what it looked like, but we did some yard work, got at least some of this stuff put away here. So it looks a little better. This is where the cows had knocked down all those boards. Put those inside. Did a little raking over here. Got some stuff off the... So here's where my posts are going to go. I'm going to get a good 2-foot hole. So I'm standing at the corner here. That drain is going to be in the wall. Then the wall is going to run over to that railroad tie. And it looks like my structure is pushing somewhat. I don't know if it's just the railroad ties weren't put in straight, or so I'm going to make sure to put some cross bracing in that. I don't know if it's moving or not, but I'm going to stiffen it up quite a bit. But for now, I'm just going to get this post in, and get a beam across to tie into that beam. If you can see that. Right here, standing in line here. Boom, boom, boom. Right along the edge of that door. That oak frame member there. I'll tie into that. And then I'll get the post in and bring a beam across that. That'll support that trolley that's just kind of hanging there on this right side. Then I'll put one more post, that ugly crooked post I showed you. I'll put it right here in line with this post, coming down right here. And this will be where I put a heavy cedar beam across just so it won't rot. And that will be where I put my stanchion right here. That way when I get the cow's head in that, I'm going to do an exsanguination, which means I'm going to cut its throat. I'm actually not going to cut its throat, I'm just going to cut its arteries and bleed it out. When it puts its head through to drink some water, I'll latch that shut, do a couple of quick cuts on either side, cut the big veins and arteries in the neck without cutting the windpipe, and it's just a little sting. They really don't even realize. So they're fairly calm, and then they'll die from blood loss. I will have a gun on hand and shoot it if I have to. And it's all very brutal, I understand. I'm a meat eater and I take responsibility for that. And I also make sure I have a good quality of beef to feed myself and my family. And we use the whole animal, we try to respect it. It's what we do. It's a lot better than factory farming and just going to the grocery store and buying something in a package. So then I'll extend that trolley out to this cedar beam, and I'll have a chain hoist on that beam so I can hoist up the animal, cut it in half, and then transfer one half over to the trolley and slide it in. It's not the most smooth process, but I don't do it that often, so it's definitely going to be. But I need that trolley to be holding about 500 pounds, which that trolley is rated like 800 or something. It'll be plenty. I forget, I'll have to look that up. So we're not going to dig it today. It's just a little too chilly, so why force ourselves? It's going to warm back up. So we'll dig the other hole. I will get the posts ready today, get them placed in the hole so we don't get all the dirt pushed back in by the chickens. And then we'll get the other hole done tomorrow. Get the other post in. I will go ahead and mill my beam today. I'll show you what I'm going to mill my beam out of. Well, we had that massive windstorm that had snapped this section out of the cedar tree. That's just too much post to use on this project. I wouldn't. I'm going to leave it for more like a barn extension. I'll use most of the height of that, the length of this thing. It's like, looks like 16, 17 feet long maybe. So I'm not going to cut that thing up just for this project. It's just too much post. Be a waste. This right here is what I'm going to mill my beam out of. I mean, I'll get several beams out of it. It's wide enough. It's about 6 feet wide, which is more than I need. So I'll get this moved over to the sawmill today and mill that baby up. Yeah, I think it's metal free. It should be, at least. So, and then I got this piece of cherry I probably need to do something with before it rots on me. Mill that baby up, get some nice cherry slabs out of it. So there's the wide shot of what I'm working on. And over there is the back side of my solar panels, which I'll be wiring those up. So I'll wire two together, so it'll be 24 volts at how many ever amps they are, I forget. But I'll wire two together, and then run those together to double the amps, if that makes sense. So you wire two panels together in series, which that means positive to positive, negative to negative. And that will keep it at 24 volts, but double the amps. And then you take those two couples, put them together. It'll keep the 24 volts and push up the amperage. And that would be, anyway, you wire in series or you wire up positive and negative to push up the voltage. I'll explain it more when I get to it. Then I got that oddball fifth panel, so I won't wire that in. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it, but I want to get the deep freezer running, and I want to that solar generator. I want to get rid of that and just move that wire over here and run. Two big things I want to do is have my refrigeration running and my water running. So that will be, I have to order some Y connectors. I don't have any, so I can get some of those panels wired together. I need at least 2. And then I'll see about maybe getting some more panels up later. Right now I just need them to do what they're doing. Those 5 panels have been sitting there since I installed them. So I need to get busy engaging them in something. So we got this a little bit cleaned out yesterday. So I'm going to put this wall in here. Probably start on this today. The wall, see how I got this wall? I'll put another wall there. Then I'll put those plastic flaps across this thing. Like when you go to the grocery store and you see they have those flaps hanging down in front of the freezers. Just going to put a little section of that in here. That way I can just roll right through it or pull it back out of the way when I bring the cow carcass through. Hang it back in this half. Just for insurance. I'm going to have to take this rail down and weld another rail. I don't think I'm going to do that today. It's just not something I feel like doing. But I got to extend that rail. Yeah, I need to know the length of this one too, and then this one will be extended out to that beam I'm putting in. So I'll have to weld those 2 rails together. And it rolls, that trolley rolls on the bottom rolled edge of this, so I'll try to keep my welds not affecting the inside of that track. That way there was no bump or anything, just nice smooth trolley. And yeah, we're gonna have to lift them or lower them to get them on. Like I'll lift up the half there with the chain hoist, and then I'll lower it to catch it on this one. I'll bring it over here, roll it in, then I have to raise it to catch this one, and then I'll roll it back. And maybe I'll just lift up on them. I don't know. Maybe we'll be strong enough to just pick them up and move them. I'll have to make some hooks and such. So anyway, this is what I'm going to be working on. This kind of a before, and it's definitely dirty in here. So I'll just be pushing around some barrels, and all that is thermal mass. That's the whole idea of those barrels. And when I get that vent in, hopefully I just never could get the temperature I wanted. And let's see, sheesh, this right now is at temperature. It's like 30, 38. I mean, the beef could be fine hanging here at 38. The trick is I need to hold that without, it can't raise, and I just don't trust that we won't get a higher temperature yet. I pretty much want to run this thing on air temperature, so we shall see how that goes. Anyway, I'll keep you updated as I progress. Let me go show you the tomato project. So the chickens have been in this area, but we're trying to deny them access in here. So that's the wall on the other side is the off-grid bathroom I'm working on. We moved some of our tools in here just to get them out of, I had them under that little overhang, but we put them in here a little more climate controlled, just not rot out my wood handles and so forth. There's my traditional breaker box there. And we moved a lot of our wood just in here, just our scraps. So this area right here will eventually be for my grow beds for my aquaponics. This will be the brooder room is in here for my, when I get back into the chick business. This is a brooder room. Fairly well insulated, draft proof. It's pretty good for raising little chicks. It's just not being used right now because I just don't want to have that much management at this time. It is a good business, it's just not my primary thing. So here in this door, this is where I'm going to spend this morning because wham, listen to me whine. My hands are cold out there. I can feel my fingers going numb. So I'm going to come in here, and it's not even that nice in here, but it's way better than outside.